And of course,
That's my pleasure.
you came on the inaugural day also. That time you were not
Yes.
sure whether there will be a speaker or not. But thank you very much. The thing is, look, I'm telling you the first thing is you have to tell us about the symposium. Then you have to tell us about yourself. So, what is the symposium all about?
Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Is originally from Nepal. Is Madrasata, and especially in the Aboriginal community, is the binding the culture that makes the things. So what I do is wherever I go with this mediation things, I bind with the culture. Yes, culture binds everyone, and when there is no good culture, and then all the community and the society becomes dysfunctional. So culture is the main. That's the theme of my the mediation things. And myself is originally from Nepal. I came to Australia in 2008. The reason I came here was my wife. She came to Australia for study, and then I followed her. So while I was in Nepal, I was working as a human rights defender. There was a 10 years armed conflict in Nepal. I got opportunity to work as a mediator for 3-4 years, and I was involved in the peace process in Nepal. So when I came to Australia, and then I came here as a student. So it was a struggling life, and then I got the opportunity to serve the Aboriginal community. After 3 years, I came to Australia. In Central Australia, in the Aboriginal community, someone offered me the job as domestic violence educator. I never had any experience before as a domestic violence educator, but I had a 3-4 years experience of Nepal about the working in a conflict. So that skills helped me to the work as a domestic violence educator. When I went that community, I found the community was, there was lots of issue regarding the conflict, the community conflict, family feuding, not the domestic violence. Domestic violence issues were hidden because of that big conflict. When I went there, the community, it's the Central Australia, where the whole community was divided into 2 rivals. So this presentation is all about what I did there, and what's the process of Australian Aboriginal way of dealing the conflict.
Perfect.
So, and I'm not saying here, I'm not proving myself, I'm the expert for this one, but I got knowledge from the Aboriginal elders. They showed me the Australian original way of dealing the conflict. So this presentation is all about the Central Australia, where the Aboriginal people live, and this is the presentation all about them, how they deal the conflict.
But where in Nepal did you grow up?
I'm from a village, very remote place nearby Lumbini.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you can tell people why is Lumbini famous? You can tell people that also.
Yes, Lumbini is famous because Lumbini is the birthplace of Buddha, where and it's connected with me as well, because Buddha is the campaigner for the peace. Yes, Buddha the campaigner for the peace and the happiness. So we are following him. So that's why the Lumbini is very famous in Nepal, and not only in Nepal, for the world, because of that's the place of happiness and the place of the peace. So, and 300 kilometers far from there, in a very remote community, I was born and raised, and I did my schooling over there. And then after that, I came to the city for the university degree. Yeah.
But now, like I said, Madhu, first you are going to tell us about the symposium. Please tell us about this symposium that we are doing, this Indigenous Peoples and Mediation. What is all that about?
Okay, now can you just little bit guide me about that one, where I should be focusing there a little bit, because I'm very new on this one. So if you guide me a little bit, where
I was asking you whether you've seen any of the other sessions of the symposium. What have you understood from that? What have you seen Ipe's session? All those things first you have to tell us.
Because I was a little busy over there, and then all the sessions I attended, but not the full session I attended there. So that's why I'm being maxed everything. I was with I was in the Helen section as well, the Ipe, and then one professor from US. So yes, I attended a few behind the scene. I was just attending there. Just if you guide me a little bit about, and then I can.
Basically, I just wanted to put out that, of course, the symposium, Indigenous Peoples and Mediation, it started on the 9th of August with the inaugural address by Ken Cloke.
Yes.
So on mediatorvikram.com, if you go there, then there is a section.
A series of that one. I have I have visited many. Yes.
Yeah. So in this. So in this schedule of activities, there is the link to the schedule. So the schedule has all the details, the YouTube links and everything there. And in the schedule is the mediators conference and other things. I mean, you can go to mediatorvikram.com.
And there's the calendar as well, which helps a lot. Yes.
So the idea being that people can go there. So that's what I mean. The thing is that there is enough information out there. I mean, now there are almost 400 videos on YouTube. So lots to watch. So what we do is let's put up your presentation up, and let's go from there. Yeah.
Sure. No.
So.
Okay. First, I would like to thank you, everyone, who is on here live or will be, watching this one later. And thank you for the time. And here, this is the peace process of Australian Aboriginal. This is the way of Australian Aboriginal dispute resolution. It's not my way, but what I learned from the Aboriginal elders. So this is the one. So particularly, this is Yundumu is the name of place where I work as a peace campaigner, as a mediator. So this is Yundumu is a place, the central part of Australia is the Aboriginal community is around. So this is all about what happened there. And then this is the community dispute. This is not the family dispute. This is the community disputes. There started the community dispute started from if you can see here, from only two people they started, and after that, the few groups involved, and after that, the half of the community involved, and at the end, the whole community was involved in this dispute. So this is all about that dispute about the community. So I'll explain a little bit what I did, or what was the situation, and a little bit. I'll go a little bit faster because there are nearly 40 slides. So Yundumu is in the Aboriginal culture, they always dreaming of the place. So Yundumu is a place, is the honey and dreaming. It's very remote community. It from the city, it takes nearly 300 kilometers far. It's the original community. There is no one until you got license, you are not allowed to drink alcohol. So it's dry community we call here. And then people around 1,000 people, Aboriginal people live there, and there are around 150 the white fellow people. They live there for the work. So strong. This community is very strong with the culture, Aboriginal culture, very, very strong. You know, I'm from Nepal. What I can see, our culture is broken. But what I found, this community is very, very strong with the Aboriginal, the culture. And then the main language here is their own language, the Walpiri language. But the people, they are easily understand and speak and communicate English. So, and sorry, my mobile is a little bit, it's not charging. Let's charge it. Just a sec. Should we go like now? So that's all about the community. And then after that, look, this small community, as I said, they are not, it's not like a city. So there are not many, the shops, many agencies. There are a few agencies. There are only few agencies. Like, there are 3 shops, the police station, the health center, school, the radio, FM station, few organizations were there. And then at that time, the flying doctor, it's called the flying doctor, was very busy at that time because people were involved in fighting. And then many people were hurt at that time. And this flying doctor were very busy because of, those people were injured during the conflict. So these are the organizations on that community. As I said, not the big community now. The next slide is all about the project, the mediation group. This is the Aboriginal the art. If you look here, if you deeply, we can see, there the painting. It's very big masses is there. There are only few words. It says Yundubu Mediation and Justice Group. But when we look this picture, there's lots of masses. It's all about the mediation, when there's conflict, when there's any dispute, and how they resolve. So the masses, their own way of resolving it says. So the next slide is the group I work with. This is the Aboriginal leader of the community. These are the elders of the community. They were respectful elders of the community, and these are the people I worked with. So first, I started with the gentleman who is sitting in the middle with the white shirt, Robert Robertson. He came on board as a mediator, and then after slowly we got all this very active leader on our committee, and I learned a lot from this. I got the huge respect for all these people. Some of them are already passed away. Always I got a lot of knowledge, cultural way, and everything. I got a huge skill and knowledge from them. So I got the huge respect for them. And this is the mediation center. And if you look here, Vikram, you can see there is a call. If you see there's a Santi. Santi means peace. Yes, that's the one. Mm. It means yes, because when I painted this office, and then I thought, okay, I'll put my word there, the word of peace. So that's all about this. Painting is all about bringing the place safe for everyone. Okay, next slide. Now I'm going to tell you the story. As I explained, what happened, what was conflict, and what's the impact of conflict and why it started. In 2010, a young man was killed, or he passed away because of the fighting between, like a friends fighting, and then that's the main reason the country started. That's only one cause. One man was passed away because of the friends fighting, and it was in 2010. So it was that's the one. And in the Aboriginal culture, we should respect when someone is passed away. We never call the name. We call them common joy. And yeah, we are allowed to say surname, but we are not allowed to say the name. So that's why Kamanjay Watson. The Kamanjay is the whoever passed away. We say Kamanjay. Someone yes, and Watson is the surname. He passed away, and then the conflict started from there. Next slide is all about the what happened after the death. Allegation of black magic. Vikram, do you what we call in our country in India and Nepal about black magic? What it's called? Jadoo, tantra, mantra.
Tantra, yeah.
Tantra mantra, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. We still got that culture. We still got a strong tradition about that. Same thing happened here as well. When he passed away, there was the allegation of black magic. Opinion against or for payback. The payback. Do you know payback tradition, Vikram?
This is what? No, tell me.
The payback is like if someone is killed, and then in India and Nepal we say khun ka badla khun or something. Yeah, that's the very strong tradition was there, and then some people were saying we should follow that payback tradition, payback culture, and some people were saying no, that's the old tradition, we shouldn't follow because it was against the law. And then after that, what happened? The people divided into two groups: separation of the family group. One person, the victim side, and another side. So the separation of the family group happened, and after that, the separation of the community happened. The West camp and South camp. So the whole community was divided into two.
But Madhu, what about this friend of ours? Our friend is behind you. Let's say hi to your friend. Our friend also.
Oh no, he's my son. Can you say hi?
Hello.
Hi everyone.
What's your name?
Son.
What's your name?
He's Abhiyan.
Abhiyan.
Yeah.
Abhiyan. Abhiyan is what? What is the meaning of Abhiyan?
What's the meaning of Abhi?
Abhiyan.
Abhiyan is a campaign.
Yeah.
Campaign. Okay, you go now. Come this way. Okay, say bye-bye.
No, you can sit, yeah. Okay. Abhi, please. Abhi, if you want to sit, you sit. Please sit. But don't have to go.
Okay.
Come.
Now,
you also watch the presentation.
Thank you for the opportunity. Okay, now don't disturb me. Okay, and now the next slide is about the what even after the the people were divided now with the surname. The one surname, because the community is not a big, the small community, and the people are closely related with one another. There were only maybe 10 or 15 surnames, the family tribes, and now the family tribes started dividing. The Watson family was the victim, and one side, and another side was the Sims, Granites, Nelson and Walker family. Another side, after the group involved, and then there were the whole people were involved. The first only 2 families were involved, and then after 4 families were involved, and after that the whole community, they divided on 2 sides, west side and south side, and there was one neutral space as well, neutral people living in one area as well. So all the surnames divided on 2 sides. So whole the family, the tribes divided into sides. So next slide is about the beginning stage of what happened after when the people involved they divided into sides. This is all about on the 13th and 14th of September. Argument for the the payback happened in the community. Say, oh, we should follow the traditional the payback, and then some people said no, and what happened after the initial stage of the conflict started from the people starting calling each other the sworn enemy, and the calling names. Name callings is not treated good, so they started calling names, and then west side people calling to the south side people as a murderer family. The several physical crashes occurred between 2 family groups. Victim family members attacked to the other side. Alcohol feuded violence. The alcohol was involved. Though it's a dry community, the most of the time the conflict is because of this alcohol. The drunk people. And in these 2 days, the 4 people were injured in 2 separate incidents. and the police arrested 2 people of West Side, because the West Side people, so they were involved in fighting the South Side. So now the police got involved. Now, next slide is about, after that, there's a huge fight where the about 50 armed West Side people, the West Side people they lost the Watson, Watson, the Commander Watson. So this time the West Side people were attacking to the South Side. This attack the Sims family, Nelson family, Grander's family, they all got, and then 5 people injured and 6 cars, and the house, the fire and the house damage and all the belongings were damaged, destroyed. It was on the 15th of September. This from the West Side. And the next slide. And then at that time, the police were called, extra police were called there, and 91 people locked in Yundumu safe house. By the, for the safe, the police got involved, and then nearly 100 people were there from the South Side, and they were kept in the safe house. Safe house is a house, where it's run by the Women Center. So yeah, it was especially for the women, domestic violence. But that time, this house was used for the whole community, one side, South Side people. So everyone want to avoid area, and the roadblocks were in place at that time. The police were checking all the road, for the weapons, everything. And then everyone were told to be safe. Yeah, and the extra police were called in the community. So now, what was used on the things? In Nepal, when I was working in the conflict, at the time, there was, the bomb blasting and the guns were used. I was in the middle when there was the bomb blasting and they were using the guns. But here, when I came, I found this in the weapons, the axe, the nala is like a stick, rock, the iron bar. These the things were used in the conflict, when they're attacking. And you can see the car there, the damage, the property was damaged, and the fire. So people were armed with iron bars, spears, nala. Nala is a stick, the Aboriginal stick. So yeah, traditional hunting wooden stick, and the hammers and axe were used during the conflict. It is at that time from west to south. So next slide will explain a little bit. I don't want to go deep here on the dates, but I'll just tell about this one. What happened in the South Side? In the 16th of from 16 August to the 21st of March, because the West Side people were attacking the South Side. So it's all about the one side attacking, because the West Side lost their men. So continued riots. It's happened, the many times. And what happened in first fighting? More than 100 people were sent to different states, like the Ipe. He lives in Adelaide. So from Northern Territory, from that community, more than 100 people were transported to Adelaide. And that's the sequence. And then they came back to Alice Spring, and they came back to Yundumu. And then when they came back again, and then in November 22nd, again there was fight, and they were sent to Adelaide for the safe. Some people they went by themselves. Some people the government or the other agency helped them to go to Adelaide. So this happened. This is the cycle of conflict, and they coming back to the community, and there was again attack, and then the series of violent incident continued during this time. So yes, these are incidents. So next slide is about a little bit. Yes, this is the place. What happened when there was the conflict in the community. The people, they went to the safer place. They were camping at the garden at the back of the in the park. So these all people, nearly more than 100 people. And in many times, the 6 or 7 times they came to the community, they came back to the community, but again, there was fight, and then they went back to the separate place. So they were staying in South Australia, in Adelaide, and sometimes they were going back, they were staying in Alice Springs. So South Camp people campaigning in the park of Adelaide, so this picture were on the media, and and some agency were helping them for the food and everything. So yeah, next slide is explain what happened. In the first fighting, what happened there is from September 10, 2010 to end of 2011. This is all about one side happening there. From west side, people attacking the south side. Victim families members, mother, brother, uncles, and around 25 west side people were sent to jail, because the west side people were involved in the attacking. So the west side people, the family, brothers, the Watson mother, brothers, uncles, they were involved in fighting, and they were sent to the jail. And around 200 people supporting west side took part in the separate fighting, and that they got the charge from the police. So now they started going to the court. Nearly 60 people from west side were charged with taking part in the fighting. Police were blamed for taking side. Now what happened? The police were, when the police were doing their own job, but what happened now? The police got involved. The west side people now blaming police taking side of south side, because the police were, reporting the incident and the attack, and then the west side people think that they're supporting south side, they're not supporting west side. So police got involved there. People started blaming police for taking side. Several, the belongings of the west side people were destroyed, like a house, car, this all the power meter, everything. Around 20 people injured in the several fightings, and then grog, so alcohol was involved in this all incident. The alcohol was promoting for the fight. So this all about the things. Now, next slide will tell us about the now. What happened after this all happening from one side. Now, from November 2011 to the August 2012. Now the scenario has changed now. Now the south side people got some people supporting from the other state. They got the big family coming there. And then now they started attacking the west side. Yeah, and then this all the dates. So I'm not going to explain this all date about the same. Now this happened again. Now the south side started attacking west side, and now the west side people, they leaving the community, they're going out, for the safer place. So a young boy of South Camp passed away. Blame west side for black magic. Now, because of some reason, one young boy was passed away of the south side, and then now for the funeral and everything, there were lots of people from outside supporting the south side, and then those people involved fighting, attacking the west side. Now, every day, used to be fight in the shopping center, because there were 3 shops, and the shops were the common place where people were going, and every day used to be shouting, fighting, in front of the the office, in front of the shop. And the west side people spend day and night in a big fear, because there are extra people in south side for the funeral and the business. So now this from that date, the situation had changed. Now what happened on after that things, when the south side people got more power, more backup, and then same thing happened. The same thing happened to the west. Now around 40 people from South Camp were sent to jail. Around 190 people supporting south side took part in separate, the fighting. Nearly 70 people from south side charged with taking part of fight. This all now before was all the west side. Now it's all south side. Now the south side people, the police were blamed for taking sides. The police officers were abused and attacked, and the police vehicle was damaged. Several this time is from south side, and several personal belongings of west side were destroyed. House, power meter box, cars, community bus smashed and burned. Around 20 people injured, and same, the alcohol was involved. Service providers were abused and targeted. And some service providers, some offices, they left. Now, same thing, look, before was the west side attacking, and this time is the south side attacking the west side. So the community bus was burnt. The south side people thought that community bus was used by west side people. They said there, and then the south side people didn't get the chance to use it, so they said, okay, we'll burn the bus. And then cars, the personal belongings, and the same weapons were used at the time. So this about that one. And the next slide will explain a little bit about now because this all about the conflicting situation. I was there at that time when this started. I was there, and then I witnessed all this. What was happening when there was a conflict, huge conflict. Both sides were involved in the fighting. Now, some people named Yundomu as a war zone. That community was named as a war zone. It used to be news every day. Day to day disturbance, negative news around Yundomu, negative news about Yundomu in national media. Every time, the fighting, injured, and like that. And more than half of the total population directly or indirectly dragged into the conflict. Major problem with the conflicting parties were blaming others, but not taking responsibility. They were just blaming others. They say, oh, they started first. So willingness and unwillingness of payback. Still, the people were talking about the payback. So that was happening. Blaming for black magic. This all things all about the blaming. In search of peace, some people moved to the other communities. Now the people who were neutral and they were going to the another community, they were moving to the another community, and they were moving to the another interstate. Look, again, alcohol and people from other community added more conflict. People from another community was visiting Yundomu, and then they added more conflict. So young people were involved. The elders were, the elders and the community leaders were a little bit positive for the peace, but the young people were provoking the conflict. The cyberbullying, like Diva Chat was very famous at the time, misuse of social media. They used to be yelling at the social media, Facebook, and like that. And they had none of this. The south side and the west side had trust to the police. Both sides were blaming police, taking side, but it was frustration. It was very frustration for the police officer working there, because none of the side were supporting them, and both sides were blaming them for taking the another side. So it was very frustrating situation at that time for the police officer to work there. It was traumatized situation for everyone, child, adult, man, woman, elders, and staff, because every day used to be fight, in front of the office, in front of the shop, in public places. So it was unsafe and uncomfortable situation for some service providers, the agencies to provide the service there. Some projects were closed. School age children and kids also, poisoned in front. The kids were in the front of the fighting, and some service providers and the project were closed. The situation continued for nearly 2 years, from September 2010 to August 2012. Now, this is all about negative. I don't want to tell, this is the presentation, so I'm saying, but it's just people, they just want to forget the negative things. And now, this all happened, because of the conflict. So people, but the elders were always positive, always looking some option. This conflict, the impact of the conflict was horrible there. The community was not functioning. The traumatized situation for everyone. The low school attendance. Fight between inmates inside. Now, people were fighting in the community, and then now what happened? The people who were in the prison, they started fighting in the prison because they were listening the news. They were talking to the family member, and then they started fighting in the prison again. Now, So rising indigenous, now what happened, people, they got the blame. They were blaming, so the employment rate was very, very low. People started losing the job because they got the excuse, said they're not safe. All the, the most of the staff were saying they can't work because it's not safe for them. So the employment rate was very, very low. We draw the community events. There were lots of community events were happening, but none of the community events were happening because of the fighting. So no cultural programs, activities on or events. Nearly 300 people were charged with an offense, and 1/3 of them got prison term. Lack of community attendance at services. They were the service providers, but the clients and the customers were not there because of this, not safe. Withdrawing the programs, all the programs were closed, and the offices and the police, they were the back-end poison a lot. The police were hopeless at the situation because they were getting blamed from both sides. And then all the things happened, and then people were naming Yindumu as a little war zone. This is the place of fighting. So, and then some agencies, the project were closed temporarily. So this all happened. There are lots of things, but I just highlighted a few things what we witnessed at the time. So this all happened at the time. And then now, look at this. The next slide will tell us, if we click any of this news, if you click any one of these news, is all about bad about Yindumu. The fighting, injured, killing, and the attacking the police. So this all the news link. There are lots of news because it used to be news almost every day. And if we click any of this, it will tell the bad story about Yindumu. I don't want to explain here. This all the link, and then now I just want to. I'm very interested waiting to tell you about the good thing. So that was the situation where the everyday used to be fight. All the people were involved in the fighting. Whole community was involved, divided into two parts. And the people who were very neutral, they were leaving the community and they were staying in another community. So now dealing the conflicting situation was very tough for me at the time. But I had hope. And then what we did, we started slowly and daily discussion with the leaders of both conflicting parties to seek resolution to the conflict. Every day I used to go both sides. I was a bit safe there from both sides because I explained them what the mediator can do, because the main thing was, the confidentiality is the main. I told them I won't pass the message to the other side. So I had a trust from both sides. So I used to go both sides with the elders, with the leaders, and then ask them, what's the solution? Tell me the solution. So the daily discussion used to happen, appeal from mediation mob to youth and coming together method. So what we did from the traditional owner of that land and the mediation committee members and the elders, I'll show you that later. They wrote a very strong message to the young people and the visitors, because the visitors were bringing the fight to the community as well. So they got a very strong message to the young people and the visitors, that the message was, don't bring the fight to the community and respect the elders, and we want to make the community safer. So they signed it, and the poster was distributed everywhere. That message was distributed everywhere, and the elders were engaged to take leadership role to keep their family members out of the trouble. Now, what happened? The elders, we got the campaign, and then we campaign all the elders not to take side, not to provoke, and make the family member calm. So, and another was like traditional owner and the mediation mob and other. We started working closely. We started work very closely towards the peace. We used to have meeting every day in our office, and then and these traditional owners mediation committee members, elders, and community leaders used to stand in the middle. When there was fight, I used to bring them in the middle. Stopping both sides. Don't fight. Stop. Enough is enough. So, and then after that, and we started having the regular meeting of the government office, anti-police, and other agencies. We started having meeting about how we can create the peace in the community. And the regular mediation meeting, we started having the regular meeting of the mediation committee. And because the shop was like a war zone, the people from both sides, they were going to the shop in the same time. The south side and the west side, they were going shop to the same time, and there used to be fight. And what we did was we made a different time for the shopping. From 8 to 12 or 8 to 11 morning was for the south side, and from 12 to 3 or 4 o'clock for the west side. So we had a different time for the shopping. So that stopped a little bit, the conflict as well. So we had a different time for the shop, clinic, because clinic was another place where the people were, the meeting from one side to another. So that was the fighting place as well. So we had a different time zone for the shop, for the clinic, and other places. We did the peace campaigning, flyer, poster promoting peace. And what I did was a peace calendar. I started making a peace calendar. I can show you the picture later. What I did from August, I think, I started making a peace calendar. The whole calendar was green, but I tried to mark the red color when there was the conflict. Before was only 5 days. In 1 month, there were only 5 days green, and 25 days were red and yellow. We started from there. I started making the peace calendar, and we started to have the fun day, because these 2-3 years the community had no any function, no any fun day, because where people were involved in the fighting. And then the school and the community started having the events where all the school kids and the community were involved, and then they had the fun day as well. So there are the links there. We can see all the things, but I don't want to go on the every links. So these were the things. Now, what other things happened was the elders. I started elders to go to the school. I used to bring the elders to the school to encourage the kids for the peace, not to involve in the fighting. So, and we used to we used to ask the judge, for the some sort of things. The judge was asking to the elders about the offender, what they can do or something. So these all processes happen. These were all the activities and the incidents and all the action we did to deal with the conflict. Celebrating every peaceful week. Now, because I was maintaining the peace calendar, and when we reach whole week with green,
Madhu just lost his connection. He's just going to come back in a minute.